I'm Angela Suggs, and today we're going to talk about lupus. Lupus is an autoimmune system disease that affects millions of Americans. However, researchers have found out that it affects more women, more African American women, Latino women, Hispanic women, and Asian women than white women in the United States. We are going to research lupus today, and we're going to talk to some people who have been diagnosed with lupus. They're going to give you information on their background and their diagnosis and how they cope with living with lupus on a daily basis. Today, our guests are going to share with you their life with lupus because someone you know has lupus.
Hello, my name is Alba Hada. I am of Puerto Rican descent. I am 59 years old, and I was diagnosed with systemic lupus in 1997. I have been living with lupus for the past 15 years.
Hi, my name is Tanya Hampton. I am African American. I'm a 46-year-old mother that has been living with lupus since 2004.
Now that you have met our guests, we are going to continue the conversation with living with lupus. First of all, we're going to ask each of you if you would tell us what kind of lupus. There are several types of lupus. If you would share with us what type of lupus that you are living with.
I was diagnosed with systemic lupus.
Okay.
I was diagnosed with systemic lupus.
Systemic lupus is the most common lupus. 70% people who are diagnosed with lupus do have systemic lupus. However, there's also discoid lupus and also drug-induced lupus. For more information on the types of lupus, you can go to www.lupus.org. We're going to continue on with questions to our guest. Ladies, please share with us your diagnosis and when you found out that you were diagnosed with lupus.
I was diagnosed with lupus in 1997. And I was told that I had systemic lupus, and it started with a rash that it was like a butterfly across my face, and I was very, very sensitive to sunlight, and they did a blood work, but it took years for them to be able to find out what the problem was. They did several different tests to begin with. They tested me for rheumatoid arthritis. So it was the process of elimination that they continued to do tests until they found out that I did have lupus. At that time, they prescribed me Plaquenil, and I've been taking Plaquenil since, and that has helped me with the sensitivity to sunlight. Okay.
And your diagnosis?
I was diagnosed in 2004 with lupus, and I ended up in the hospital with a blood clot. I started with a blood clot on my arm, actually, in my right arm, and when I went in the hospital, I was there for like 8 days, and when I was due to be released from the hospital, and they said I had a 6-week follow-up checkup visit to see if how everything was going with the blood clot. Only it said how was I coming along with my lupus coagulant, and I had no idea what that even meant. So I started with a new doctor, and the doctor said, well, we'll rule out having lupus. I'll send you to a rheumatologist, and you know, he was hopeful, like, well, we'll just rule this out and see what's really going on. And then, but I actually you know, tested positive for having lupus, so that's how I found out.
Just as you said that, were any of you aware of lupus before you were diagnosed with it, and had you heard of the disease?
No, I had not heard about the disease, and I couldn't understand being Puerto Rican. I came from an island that I was exposed to sun all the time, and I enjoyed being in the sun, and then all of a sudden I became very sensitive to it. I would have like blotches anytime that I was in the sunlight for, you know, even 10-15 minutes. I started where it would be like a red rash all over my body. Then it became more sensitive that even driving in the car with the sunlight hitting the side window, it would feel like somebody had thrown hot oil on my face, like hot grease. So it became to the point where I couldn't really be outdoors. So that's when I knew that there was something really wrong, because you don't go from being in the sun sunbathing to not being able to drive your car. So that's how, yeah, I knew there was something wrong with me.
I am in the sun for some periods of time, and I actually enjoy being in the sun, but I don't have the same type of sensitivity as far as, you know, it feels like anything bad is actually even happening to me, other than when it's like really hot, and if people are perspiring, I'm out there perspiring too. But as far as affecting like my skin or blotchy or anything like that, now from time to time I would get different rashes, but I've never had the butterfly on my face, or I'll just get like a patch of a rash or something on my arm from time to time.
The cause of lupus is unknown, but some of the symptoms are achy joints, fever of more than 100 degrees, arthritis, prolonged extreme fatigue, skin rashes, kidney involvement, blood clots, pain in the chest, or deep breathing. The idea that lupus is fatal is a misconception. It is a true medical science that has not yet been developed for curing lupus, and some people have died from this disease. However, people with non-organ threatening disease can look forward to a normal lifespan. We're going to discover some more information about living with lupus with our two guests. Sometimes people might question and ask if it's hereditary or if it's contagious. Would either one of you like to share information on that?
It's not contagious, but it could be hereditary, because I have a cousin that has lupus, and she also has fibromyalgia.
And to our knowledge, I don't have anybody directly related that we knew of with lupus, but I do, well, this is related because she's a cousin, but she passed away when I was a teenager, and it was my mother's first cousin's daughter, and the study of lupus hadn't even come to the point that it's at today, but my cousin, her daughter did pass away when we were teenagers, and like I said, I'm in my 40s now.
We're probably similar.
Right.
All right. Now, living with lupus on a daily basis, dealing with either the sunlight or hair loss, how do you cope, and how do you rely on your family for support?
Well, my family is very supportive. For instance, in the wintertime, I'm very tired. It's very difficult getting out of bed. I spend a lot of time either laying on the couch or laying in bed, and my family is very understanding. When it's a day I don't feel good, they just let me be. And when I feel good, they know I feel good because I'm up and at 'em. Also, another symptom that I have is difficulty sleeping at night. It's almost like you don't want to go to bed, because once you're in bed, then you don't find it difficult to get out of bed. And I think it's due to the fact that when you're in bed, you're not moving your joints. So then afterwards, it's very difficult getting out just to get started. But once you get moving, it takes about a half hour or so for your joints to kind of catch up with your body to be able to move and have less pain.
And I feel like that if I don't get up doing my regular routine every day, that my life is incomplete even. So I get up regardless, because I have children still in school, so I like to see my children off to school. And I get up and do that, and by the time I'm done getting them out the door, my body's loosened up to where that I feel, you know, pretty good to continue on with my daily chores, because I love to wash the dishes, I like washing clothes. I've always liked being a mom and doing mommy things. I've always wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but the way I got to be one, I would have never imagined that.
Yeah.
But that's what it is, and my family helps me tremendously.
If there was someone out here who was watching this and maybe they don't have lupus, but somebody that they know does, or a family member, what would you say for them to be supportive?
Well, I would say that When you have lupus, especially the systemic lupus, somebody may not look ill, like say somebody that has cancer or somebody that has a lung disease that is, you can actually see it. When you have systemic lupus, you may look fine on the outside, and you can put on makeup and you can get around, but on the inside, that's where you're hurting, your pain, and you need people to be understanding that if you're not up and at 'em, it's because you just don't have the energy, especially in the winter months. And I'm very fortunate that I do have that support with my...
Here in Jefferson County, we have a lupus support group that meets. You can contact the Urban Mission at 282-8010. That's 740-282-8010 for more information. Would each of you like to share about the lupus support group?
Yes. Before I started going to the lupus support group, I didn't know anything about lupus because the doctors very often won't tell you anything about your symptoms for fear that if they tell you, you will develop these symptoms mentally. So they give you very, very little information. I had lupus for like 5 years before I went to my lupus support group. And in my lupus support group, I learned all the different information because they get the pamphlets. They get people, speakers that come in from Pittsburgh, from different areas, and they give you all the different information that it makes you feel like you're not alone.
I always feel really good and enjoy myself anytime I've ever gone to the lupus group, and everybody, it is like a big family. Everybody's very welcoming. We're of all ages, races, and nationalities, everything, and it's just a good time. But the irony of my story is that before I was diagnosed with lupus, my mother used to be a part of the lupus group, and for a few years before I even knew I had lupus, so it was just really ironic, but yet a blessing. And yes, that she was part of the support group.
So it's amazing how when you go to places like that, how you learn that, even young people have lupus. I mean, I'm 59, but there's people out there that are in their 20s that have lupus, and it's nice to go to those events and learn more about it and meet other people with it so that you're not alone.
Living with lupus is a daily event. Each morning, each day, each evening, someone who is diagnosed with lupus has different symptoms and different things that go on throughout their day. However, the family that is supportive is the most important part of the person with lupus. If you know someone who is with lupus, please take time to learn to understand the disease and take time to understand what they are going through. That's part of what the lupus support program is about. Anyone with a chronic illness should not be labeled as lazy or hypochondriac, or that they're just sick all the time. Each day as you're living with lupus, can you explain some of the symptoms that you feel, and also are there special diets and things that you need to do during that day?
Okay, well, some of the symptoms that I experience are very cold fingers, achy joints. My toes are always freezing. Even the 4th of July, I would need to wear socks to bed because my feet are very cold. So those are the main things that are kind of annoying because you always have to be dressing appropriately for your symptoms. The achy joints, the loss of hair. You could be feeling terrific one day and the next morning you can't get out of bed. And you don't know why. You just know that you pretty much have to do what your body allows you to do. The other thing is very important to have a good diet that includes a lot of antioxidants, that you take your medication the way you're supposed to take it, that you have your blood work done regularly. I have blood work done every 3 months to monitor my kidneys. I go to have an extensive eye exam once a year to make sure that the plaquenil is not damaging my eyes.
But yeah, people see me at a party and they're saying, "Oh, you're really feeling it," thinking I have a buzz or I'm drunk, but it's actually, you know, the way I walk. And a lot of people don't know that, so when they see me, they're like, "Did you have surgery?" Or, but going to the doctor, listening to your doctor, water aerobics, water therapy, swimming, all those are things that I know I should do, but I have smaller children, and I'm pretty active with them, and it's no excuse for me not doing that. But swimming, you also feel really good when you have lupus.
Again, my name is Angela Suggs. Thank you for joining us. If you or someone that you know may have lupus, you can contact the Urban Mission at 740-282-8010 or go to www.lupus.org. And again, thanks for joining us.